So if you're Betfair football trading on over-under goal markets, what's the best way to guarantee that you could win? Well, there is a clever way where you can actually back both outcomes that will allow you to win. Well, that's pretty obvious because there's only two outcomes. If you back both of them, you will win. However, you need to do it profitably, which is what we're going to focus on in this video. But we're going to use a slightly different method from ones that you often see put out there to allow you to achieve that. Not only that, but it can actually beautifully frame the trade for you as well. If you're interested in trading with BetAngel, then visit our website where you can download a free trial of BetAngel Professional and BetAngel Trader. If you want to learn how to use them, then visit the Academy where we give you a detailed, structured walkthrough of each product. And if you're an existing user, then head on over to the forum where we have a load of files for you to download to customize and use within BetAngel. So in this video, we're going to be looking at some Betfair football trading, and more specifically, we're going to be looking at the over-under markets. And very specifically, we're looking at the 1.5 goal market in this particular video. Now, there are always two sides to a trade. There's the market selection, and then there's the execution side of things, the actual strategy itself. So we're going to be looking in this video at the strategy itself. If you're looking at market selection criteria, then have a look at some of the other football videos that I've done that will allow you to home in specifically on the right market. What I will do at some point is a smaller video that combines all of these in a quicker format that will allow you to identify markets that are more likely to exhibit characteristics where this strategy is likely to work. But what we should do is take a deep dive and a complex look at this strategy in detail. So without further ado, let's do that. So we're looking here at the 1.5 goal market in the Liverpool v Burnley match. And I wanted to show you something that you can do on BetAngel that will allow you to frame the perfect trade. It's useful to have as much information as you possibly can when you're trading, but trading is all about balancing out your profits and your losses. So it's helpful to have some sort of a trading plan when you go into a trade. And this is the way to do it. So let's have a look at how we would frame this particular trade in this particular market. Now, the great thing about BetAngel is we do actually have a piece of software to supplement your football trading, whatever strategy you're planning to do, and that is called Soccer Mystic. And if you're looking at a market like this, if it's compatible with Soccer Mystic, if you click on the ball, then it will bring up Soccer Mystic. If it's not compatible with that, then you'll get an error. But you can see that this market is compatible. And in the top right hand corner, we have this signal strength indicator, and that basically tells you if BetAngel has got enough information about this market to make a reasonable prediction. And when you turn up at the market, it will show you these graphs. We've got the match odds probability. Each of these lines is showing you as a percentage in terms of probability the chance of something happening. So you can sort of see we've got 100% up here, and the draw gets more and more likely as the match progresses, and so on. But we're looking here specifically at over and unders, so we need to click on that particular tab to be able to look at that market in some depth. So here you can see two lines as well, and these two lines go in opposite directions because they're representing different elements of the market. This is over 1.5 goals. You can see we've entered the 1.5 goal tally here, and this is under 1.5 goals. So the chance of there being under 1.5 goals increases as the match goes on and there are no goals, and of course it decreases in the other direction. So if we look at this particular market, how would we set up a trade in this particular market? Because we don't know when goals are going to be scored necessarily. So it's important for us to understand what should our sort of target be. When you're actively trading, you're sort of saying, this is how much I'm going to make, and how frequently, and this is how much I'll lose if it all goes horribly wrong. So we need to set up some sort of parameters. Well, what I'm going to do for you here is we're going to go to the Dutching area on BetAngel, and I'm going to click to back both of these selections. But what I'm going to do is tick the margin maker on this particular selection, and we're going to see how that influences what happens within this particular match. So you can see I've set the margin for 5%. So basically for a £100 stake, we will make £5. And that the margin maker is telling us that the current odds here are 118, but if we add a 5% margin to it, you can see that we have to reach a price of 127. So how would we reach a price of 127 on over 1.5 goals? So if we look on over goals, I'm going to switch off the under goals. I'm going to go from a probability chart to an odds chart. And I'm just going to limit the odds to, we'll say 150, just so that the graph sort of looks more reasonable. Otherwise it flies off into the distance. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put a profit line on over 1.5 goals, and then we can mess around and see what happens from here. So if we're actively trading over 1.5 goals, you can see the profit line is this blue line down here that you can hardly see. You can see it says there above the line is lay value, below the line is back value. So it's basically saying if there are no goals, then it makes sense to lay over 1.5 goals and then trade out at some point in the future, which makes perfect sense. So what we can do here is we're saying that with 5% margin we need a target price of 127. So if we move the cursor across here, you can see that that 127 area is reached sort of fairly quickly into the match. We can actually see that we're looking at an elapsed time of about sort of 10 minutes. So the price will drift from 119, 118, 119 out to 127 within about 10 or 11 minutes. So if you split the match up into 15-minute segments, you're saying there's not going to be a goal in the first 15 minutes. So what happens to the price if there is a goal? You know, it's important to understand that. If there is a goal at 15 minutes, we'll just refresh the chart there. You can see that that changes the equation quite a bit, and therefore if a goal goes in during that period, we're going to have to wait for the price to go back to 127 at some point in the future. And in fact, when we look at that, you can see that that would occur just after half time. So you're basically saying if you're going to put a position in the market, you want it to complete within 15 minutes. But also if a goal did go in against the run of play or, you know, whatever scenario, then you're going to have to sort of make a second call here by saying, is there going to be a second goal before half time or just after half time? Because if there is, then your entire stake goes. But if there isn't, then you would obviously make some money. So you can mess around with these figures here, and this will give you a much better set of objectives when you're actively trading. So you can see here, if we set it at 25%, it's saying the target price that we need to reach is 1.7. So if we clear goals here, refresh the chart, we're looking for a target price of 1.7. So you can see there it's highlighted 168 for us already. So for the price to reach 1.7, we need it to be sort of just before 40 minutes. We've sort of targeted 38 minutes here, but you can see it's going to be in that arena around there that first goal has to appear. So if you're targeting a particular type of match, if you get a low scoring match, then it's possible that there may not be a goal for a period of time, and therefore you may reach this objective. But if you're in a match where you're expecting goals, then obviously that could have a fairly significant impact. So let's throw in a goal again. We're going to throw in a goal at 25 minutes. Mo Salah runs up the wing, crosses the ball, and Firmino finally scores. If we look at where the odds will be at this particular moment in time, you can see just as the goal is about to be scored, they reach 143, and then we have to wait for the odds to go back out to reach our target price of 1.7. So all of a sudden you can see this stretches out your window of opportunity out to about 68 minutes. So you're saying there won't be two goals inside 68 minutes. So there are two approaches to this. You can analyze stuff a lot before the match has started, but you can also look at how things are panning out as the match is underway, because if it's a tight match and there's not much goalmouth activity, then you can probably feel a bit safer holding a position for longer. But if you actually see it's quite an open match and chances are being created all over the place, then you probably just want to dump the trade. Now, of course, you can apply this to under as well. We can actually look at things from a completely different perspective from trading under 1.5 goals. It's effectively the inverse of over 1.5 goals. But you can analyze this in exactly the same way. You're looking for objectives, you're looking for key points within the match, you're looking for a situation where something is likely to occur, and you can use the margin maker in exactly the same way. So if we put the margin maker down to 5%, you can see here that it's saying that if we want to gain 5%, we need the price to go out to 9.8. So you're effectively saying here, there will be a goal within this particular time period. So because we've said that there's a goal at 25 minutes, you can see that that exceeds 9.8. So you can actually be quite clever here, and you can sort of adjust it and sort of say, okay, at what point does that goal arrive for me to achieve my payoff? So you effectively set a target of saying that there is a point at which, you can see we're just messing around here. If you wanted to do this another way, I'll show you in a second, but you can effectively see that this is allowing you to frame your trade. This is saying I need a goal within this particular time period, or I don't need a goal within this particular time period. But you can essentially see that you're going to be in the mid-30s for a payoff to occur. So if we decided to lay under 1.5 goals, then basically the price would come down and come down and come down and come down, and then boom, the goal comes in around that period, and that's where you get your payoff. And of course, if there's a second goal that occurs at another period, then the market will settle as being over 2.5 goals. So your lay would have won. But this just allows you to play around with all those variables and very clearly define, if you're using statistics, what is likely to happen and where the odds are going to be. And that is essentially, the most critical thing that you're doing when you're actively trading. If you want to trade time decay, then obviously this is actually plotting out the time decay for you on either side of the market. So that is hugely beneficial as well, because you can look at one or the other, or you can look at both within the market, and that will allow you to actually understand exactly what is likely to happen in the market, how and how the market will move at any particular time. So if we're looking much later in the match for the first goal to occur, then you can see that the time decay will be fairly significant when we actually look at that. If you wanted to play around with some scenarios as well, we do actually have on the over-under tab here, the over-under scenario indicator. If I just drag that across, you can pin that to the top, and you can actually play around with all of the different goal markets. You can say whether you've got a back or a lay bet, what odds you're going to back or lay at, and then it will actually tell you what would happen. So if you wanted to place a lay bet on under 2.5 goals with a stake of £100, what are the predicted odds 15 minutes from now? It will tell you what your potential profit will be if there are no goals, and what the potential loss will be as well. So you can play around with those scenarios from there. But the key thing to understand from this is there are a range of tools within BetAngel that will not only let you define how much profit do you want to make within a trade, but also what scenarios will allow you to achieve that payoff. So if you're using statistics or you're going for a certain level of payoff, it beautifully frames exactly what sort of match that you're looking for, how that match varies from other matches that you're looking at, and also what your period, when that goal is required. Do you need it within 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes? What happens when that occurs? It suddenly gives you a method of constructing a very decent trading plan for that individual match. But yeah, make full use of all of these tools that are available on BetAngel because they're there to allow you to trade much more effectively than if you're just randomly guessing, or you've got a generic strategy that isn't specific to any one match. The advantage of having these tools within BetAngel is that they will allow you to tailor your strategy to each individual match. So let's summarize exactly what we've done here. We have used the Dutching tool within BetAngel and some of its other functions to basically place 2 back bets in the market on the 1.5 goal market. We've placed one on under 1.5 goals, and we've taken the current price, and we've offered the current price on over 1.5 goals. That means that we can actually put these bets into the market. We keep these bets into the in-play period, or the single outstanding bet into the in-play period, and then we wait for that to get matched. According to BetAngel, we would need to wait sort of less than 20 minutes for that position to get matched. And if we actually look at what happened within the match, I've taken a screenshot shortly after that position was matched. Now, The interesting thing about this match is the first goal actually came at or about the same time that I narrated before I actually recorded this, before the match started when I recorded this video. And curiously, the goal came in around the mid-30s. So this was a market where you could have actually done both of these trades within the market. You could have gone for the unders initially, taken advantage of time decay, and then you could have gone on the other side again to increase your potential profit, waiting for that first goal, and it would have worked absolutely beautifully in this particular match. Just a bit of a coincidence that I chose this match and it worked out that way. But nonetheless, this should give you a good idea of exactly what your objective was and how you could achieve it. So what we've done in this video here is we have created a very simple trade, but we have beautifully framed it. We've put two positions in the market. Just before the off, we carry those positions into the in-play period where the second bet will get matched. Curiously, both of these positions are back bets. But what we've done cleverly here is we've actually beautifully framed exactly when that is likely to get matched. So in order to trade and do this trade profitably, you want to pick a match that suits the characteristics of the trade that you've just done, i.e. lots of goals, not too many goals. But also, when the match is in play, you know exactly the periods where your potential trade could go wrong. So if you're active in a match and it's not showing the characteristics that will make this trade profitable, then you can exit for a small profit at that particular point in time. You don't have to worry about what's going on or whether you're doing the right thing. You've actually perfectly framed your trade. And if you want the key to successful and profitable football trading, that's exactly what you need to do. We've identified what we're going to do. We've identified how much money we want to make. We've identified what will make it work. And then all we do is put those trades into the market for those to fill. And like I said, if you're watching the match and it's not exhibiting those characteristics, you can exit for a small profit very early on. But yeah, I hope that video was useful for you.